Oh yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody. We had a technical hiccup on this side. But as we were saying, the word pharmacy's origin is the word pharmakia, and these are the different forms of the word pharmakia and what it means. Now, we're going to discuss that. We're going to get into witches and witchcraft because we've covered that in previous classes. And so what I want to say is that before we actually get into the origins of the word and breaking down the word and getting into history, you guys know I like talking to you in plain English, down to earth. And so here's the deal with pharmakia. Here's the truth about that. And pharmacies and doctors and hospitals and nurses. Okay? Here's the deal with that, right? Hospitals, doctors, and nurses, as we know them in modern society, are relatively new. I would give them, in America, I would give them 300 years, maybe. Two. I'll give hospitals 200 years. I give them 200 years, modern hospitals, right? And when you think about the difference between natural medicine, right, and modern medicine, the important thing to consider is to match up what's going on, right? And this is the down to earth, plain English explanation of what's going on with pharmacies, pharmacia, hospitals, doctors, nurses. Okay, witches and sorcerers, their art is the mixing of toxic, poisonous chemicals. They mix things. They mix chemicals, right? That's what they do, right? Okay. Now, before people get into, there's good witches and they make, natural remedies and heal people and everything, right? Before you say that, okay, let me just tell you that there's no such thing as a good witch. And if you're good and think you're a witch, you're wrong and you're not a witch. Okay, right? You need to, because real witches, I've rubbed elbows with real witches, and what people think they are, what I know a witch is, you're not that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Just people need to get that straight because witches are pardon my French, but witches are some other shit. You know what I'm saying? What these teenagers are getting into and it's goth and playing with spells and candles and shit. Listen, real witches are some other shit. Okay? Alright? Seriously. So look, right? Witches, their key art is the mixing and combining of chemicals, right? Poisons. That's what they do. And the art of they control parasites. They control. People don't talk about this much. One of the main arts of witchcraft is to control parasites. Okay? Alright? That's what they do. Now, here's what happened in modern times. Let me tell you real quick how to see what's going on. The witches, right, changed their titles. They changed their titles. They changed their costumes. They stopped wearing black, started wearing white, right? Instead of witches and sorcerers, they're called doctors and nurses. And instead of poisoning you, we're here to help you. Right, because see, now they're wearing white, and instead of like mixing chemicals in a cauldron in a hut somewhere, right? They're in labs mixing chemicals, wearing white. That's the only difference. Okay? Right? And I need people to visualize what I'm saying. The witches and sorcerers, right? Instead of mixing chemicals in cauldrons and huts and covens, right? They are wearing white now, and they are in labs mixing these chemicals and messing with these parasites, okay? And because of this change, people can't see them anymore, right? And the distraction is the teenagers, the cult members that follow witchcraft. They're distracting you, right? Because they're taking on the persona and characters of the old school witches, right? That the old school witches don't. That's not how it goes down now, right? Everything is more sophisticated, okay? Witches wear suits and ties, right? And lab coats now is where the witches and sorcerers went. Is why you don't see them regularly in society. Is because you do, and they're wearing different clothes and they're taking on different titles, and people are running to them for help because if they're evil and they lie and they say they're here to help you. But that's because money got involved. When the witches and sorcerers started making money by deceiving people, everything changed. And that's where our modern medical profession comes from. The whole medical industry, the whole medical industry, big pharma, the hospitals, all of that came from when witches and sorcerers realized that they can make money off of it. That's where big pharma and the hospitals come from. That's what I wanted to say, so that we can identify where this is at and where it's going down at now. It's not going down underground in some secret location. It's not going to. No, it's the hospitals and the clinics, man. Those. And I need you guys to take your minds out of the realm of because science fiction program people to dismiss anything real that is similar to science fiction. Somebody's mic is still on. Could we all turn our mics off? But yeah. So now,
you hear me?
I whoever that is, yeah.
I got called. Sorry.
Nah, you straight, son. You straight. So now that we covered pharmakia, the word pharmacy and its origin, we covered nurses and doctors. Now we're going to cover what hospitals really are. Okay? The old school word for hospital, xenodochium. Xenodochium, however you want to pronounce it, tomato, tomato, right? This is what hospitals really are, right? And in the Civil and Old English law, it was an inn allowed by public license for the entertainment of strangers and other guests. Now, as inviting and pleasant as that seems, let's get into it. Also, a hospital, a place where sick and infirm persons are taken care of. Black's Law Dictionary 6th edition. Now, allowed by public license, okay, already says to us because in this school and at this time, at this point, we all know what the public is, and allowed by public license means that hospitals are for the dead first of all. And it's just, these are words. We're going over these words and what they mean and what all this stuff is saying. What is it saying? What is that to say? Is what we're going over. Yes, there are people in hospitals that care about children and they don't know, and they don't all know, they're not all aware. But fine, let's consider that, right? I'm just going over what all of this is saying and what all of it means, right? And then when we go over the truth of all of this, you'll realize what's really happening, okay? Now, second, that entertainment means to maintain in service or to hold in the mind, right? Okay, entertainment, okay? Hospital has other, it has other definitions and meanings and words, in other languages. And it's interesting when you search all of these other languages to what hospitals really are. But we're going to go over this because xenodocument seems to be the most interesting um, depiction or definition, or, it's the most interesting form of the word hospital that I've ever seen. Because this word's been broken down. Okay. Hospice, right? Or hosps, or host, or hostess, right? And the word host plus potent is interesting because when those words together mean sacrifice. The sacrifice of, right, an enemy, a victim, or stranger. And it also means to obtain parasitic nutrition, and it also means an army, right? Because these are different words, different definitions for the word host. Now when you look at that, and you break down the word xenodocument, right? Xeno means alien, strange, guest, right? And the word xenos means strange or xenon. Infirm and guest. Infirm means to invalidate. Infirm means to be weak or feeble, right? Infirmary, right, of the hospital, right? Or weak due to age. It means faltering persons, a faltering mind, unsound, or invalid as a proper title. An invalid title. So infirm can also mean a weak title. Pay attention to these things that we're putting together. These are puzzle pieces. I want your mind to fit these puzzle pieces together, because we are talking about hospitals, doctors, nurses, and pharmacy, and big pharma, right? That's what we're talking about. But we're taking the mask off and we're revealing who they really are. Now, mind you, this entire course, which is 3 nights long, three days long, right? We're going to eventually get into how the person is created in these hospitals by these witches and sorcerers, right? And how the vaccinations and the medications are actually the poisons of the witches and sorcerers, right? Right? So we have to break down what pharmacy, what nurses, doctors, what hospitals really are first. Right? Because, I have these people coming to me, about hospitals and CPS and the Social Security number, and they don't want a Social Security number for their baby, and the birth certificate and what to do, and right? So, the way I see it, I'm wondering why did you even go to them in the first place? Do you have any idea who that is? Do you have any idea what that place is that you're going to? And it's like, no, they don't, Machete. They have no idea where they're going or who those people are or what's really going on. And so it's like, I have to teach it. Plus, in regards to us trying to, well, not us, but, I, in regards to people trying to become free, right? You have to realize where it is that you were enslaved at in the first place. You have to know where it happens at. You have to realize that rituals were going down. You have to realize that contracts, Faustian contracts were signed. You have to realize that, pure evil goes down in these places. And the origin and the creation of the person and connecting the all capital letter person to you happened in the hospital, man. It is witchcraft. It's what creates the person. And that's why we're going into that. So I don't want to go over pharmakia and be talking about all this and have you wondering what it has to do with the process. Because it has everything to do with the process. Right? Now, let's continue. It seems that hospitals should be avoided whenever possible because they obviously have something to do with using an enemy or army of strangers, aliens, parasites, to hold your mind in order to make your property title invalid and to obtain parasitic sustenance. I'm going to shut up and I want you to read that paragraph right there, or that statement, right? I want you to absorb that. Because that's what actually happens in these hospitals. Hospitals are centers where brain parasites infect, possess humanity. These parasites and these infected people then go out into society and spread the infection. Then people go back to the hospitals and the sick cycle continues. It's a very spooky statement. Also, that you need to look at and think about, because that's really what's happening. I know it sounds outlandish, but it is true. Hmm. Hmm. Outlandish, but true. Now, paganism, Satanism is still entwined in many modern-day practices of healing. Most modern medicine is nothing more than contemporary witchcraft garbled in a scientific disguise, which is what we've discussed, right? Now, you wonder why when you talk to people, right, they get angry about what you're talking about. You wonder why people call you crazy, right? You wonder why people just don't get what you're trying to tell them. You have to understand that, first of all, you have to thank God for the fact that you're not in the same psychological and mental and spiritual condition that they're in. Because, first of all, in New York, I know, right? I know for a fact in New York that there's about 52 pharmaceutical drugs, psychological pharmaceutical drugs found in the tap water by itself, in the tap, in the water. I'm not talking about the chemicals in the food, in the medicine, and I'm talking about right? I'm talking about the pharmaceutical drugs that are in the tap water that people make their tea and coffee and Kool-Aid, if you right, and lemonade with, and smoothies with this water, and people take showers and baths in this water that is absorbed by the skin and goes directly into the bloodstream, right? Listen, man, they have they have altered evolution. They have retarded the process of evolution because psychologically, right, and spiritually, they've been using chemicals and poisons to diminish the potential of mankind in order to control us. Now, when I say that, I have to say that it makes no sense for humanity to do this to itself. Okay? So if mankind is being dumbed down and controlled and poisoned, someone else has to be doing it. Okay? And whatever of mankind, whatever humans are witches, it is the witches that are helping them. That is the witches' position. That is what witches exist for. To help them. To help the fallen angels and the rebellious, the other negative entities. The witches help them. Hmm? Yes. Yes. And it's kind of ingenious because it's in the guise of helping us now. So now people are actually running to witches to be poisoned and killed, is what's really happening, right? The Hippocratic Oath in various forms is still taken by doctors to this day. The Oath of Hippocrates has remained in Western civilization as an expression of ideal conduct for the physician in the American Medical Association Code of Medical Ethics 1996 edition. What many people do not realize, however, is that the original Hippocratic Oath began with a call to pagan demonic deities. Interesting. And this quote is the old oath. That's interesting now. So this is put together because um, I would say a few years back, it wasn't last year, I connected the symbols, right? This is Baphomet's belly. This is the symbol in Baphomet's belly. And then when you look at the symbol for modern medicine, it is similar. We're not going to get into the details of the symbol because that could be a whole other class, right? But I want you to notice the similarities between Baphomet's belly, the medical symbol, and the dollar symbol, right? Because This symbol, this medical symbol, is not only a symbol of medicine, it's also a symbol of commerce. So commerce and medicine are directly connected. And you can see how the witches and the doctors now being sorcerers, and the sorcerers and witches now being doctors and nurses. You can see where that transition happened at. Now, mind you, I really don't care if your brother's a doctor, if your sister's a doctor, if your wife or husband is a doctor or a nurse. I don't care. The truth doesn't care whether you believe it or not. The truth does not care whether you like it or not. It just is what it is. If anyone is upset, or if anyone that you talk to is upset, or if anyone that walks by your computer screen and sees or hears any of this is upset, please have them prove me wrong and contact me. I'd love to see it. See, because people go into denial when something is too scary, right? People go into denial and they get mad and they become dismissive right? And so what? This is what it is. Right? So I'm just here, this school is about teaching you what's really going on out there. Right? These are some, and let me emphasize some. These are some of the things that pharmaceutical companies have either been proven to or have been accused in court of. 1. Routinely bribing doctors with luxury vacations and paid speaking appointments. 2. Fabricating drug safety data and lying to the Food and Drug Administration, which they don't have to actually lie to the Food and Drug Administration. The Food and Drug Administration is the witches and sorcerers too. 3. Defrauding taxpayers out of billions of dollars. That's a given. Deceiving regulators about the effectiveness of its drugs. Okay, because there are regulators out there. But the thing is that it's interesting how much it can't be proved or investigated. Now, mind you, I'm also in this school teaching you guys about trust and all that stuff, right? Well, what happens is if you create a private trust, right, that cannot be investigated by anyone, right, that is outside of the United States jurisdiction, and you are a group of witches and sorcerers, and you create a trust, and you want to get into the pharmaceutical industry, and you start creating poisons and stuff and all that stuff, right? There's a certain amount of information that is private and cannot be investigated or looked into, right? So you can see how there are ways that this can be done, right? How deceiving regulators about, their practices and their drugs and stuff. Because mind you, if you look into some of the places that you can't go, right, that no one has access to, the Coca-Cola vault, right, is like more super secret than Area 51. Why is that? Right? But moving forward, this would be number 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relying on its deceptive practices to earn billions of dollars selling potentially dangerous drugs to unsuspecting consumers and medical patients. Now, mind you, these are things that they've been proven in court of or accused in court of, right? 6. Falsifying test data to fabricate a vaccine efficacy rate of 95% or higher. Spiking blood tests with animal antibodies in order to artificially inflate the appearance of immune system antibodies. Pressuring virologists to participate in the fraud and subsequent cover-ups. Mind you, virologists and parasitologists. Viruses and parasites are the same. The only difference between a virus and a parasite is size. Okay? But they are all parasites. Now, I want to go over something that, that people, that I don't get into politics, but I just want to cover something real quick. The CDC, right? The Center of or for Disease Control. Why don't people pay attention to what they read? It says the Center for Disease Control, and they make people think that their whole position, right, is to control the diseases, is to make sure that, if something happens, that they can contain. Listen, no. Yes, that it means they control the diseases. The diseases are the viruses and the parasites. And they are the ones that control them. You're not getting what I'm saying. You don't hear me. You're not hearing me. That is the center where the virus, the parasites, and they are controlled. Oh boy, people don't get it, right? But they're literally saying in your face that they're controlling the parasites. Okay? We just went over what xenodokia means. Okay? Right? And I don't get into politics, like I said. But as many people hate this guy, right? And I'm not into, I don't get involved in that. I don't really care about, who the president is, or, right? Because, it's a company. So I don't care what their company does. It doesn't concern me, right? But I will say that this guy came into office, and one of the first things he said to people was that I'm transferring all my businesses into trust. Holy shit. Nobody noticed that? nobody notices that he gave everybody a clue as soon as he stepped in, right? The next thing he does, right? What was it? The IRS? He made the IRS turn up all their computers. The CDC, right? He did that to the IRS too, right? The CDC, he made them turn over all their computers, right? And all of their data and the information about the vaccinations and immunizations, right? I don't know. That's pretty, that's kind of on the hero side to me, right? And so, I don't know. I'm not saying this guy's a hero or anything, but some of the things that he's done that have been outlandish, right, have been some pretty impressive things, from over here. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, he's a Trump lover." No, I'm just saying that some of the things he did was some of the things that I would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I would make the CDC turn over their computers and shut them down. Right? I would be investigating the IRS and the mortgage companies and all that shit. I would be doing that. I would definitely tell the Americans that listen, it's not corporations, it's trust. You want to get involved in trust. Yeah, I would do that too. I'm doing it now. Right? So So, I'm just saying, right, that the CDC is an interesting organization and people need to pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I need people to pay attention to the combination of, or the workings of, Pharmacia and the CDC together, because the witches and the sorcerers are there. That's where they are now. And they're wearing lab coats. They're wearing, like I said, they stopped wearing black and they started wearing white. And now nobody can see them because they did that. And now everybody trusts them because they're wearing white and they're wearing glasses and they have lab coats and clipboards. You know what I'm saying? I need people to pay attention to that. That's where the witches and sorcerers went. It's not that they're that it's not that they're mythical or that's science fiction or it's not real. It's not that. The reason why you don't see the witches and sorcerers the way people did in biblical times is because, or medieval times, is because now they're wearing white and they're calling themselves doctors and nurses and surgeons and shit. Is what, right? And this upsets me. I get passionate about things like this because, man, listen, reality is from the private, right? Reality is something totally different than what the public sees it as or thinks it to be. And so, in addition to everything else that you learned about reality and what's going on here and what's really going on here, you need to add this to your knowledge base before you start coughing and run to a hospital or a doctor's office or schedule an appointment, right? You need to know this, man. And it's programming. They programmed you to do this. There's private clinics and private doctors and natural health centers, and you just look them up. Man, it's really crazy out there, man. It's really crazy out there. The public is a very wild, wild place. They're also guilty of pressuring virologists into participating in fraud and cover-ups. We did that. Intimidating scientists, threatening them with going to jail unless they stayed silent about the true test results of various drugs, and entering arrangements with pharmacy benefit managers to force retailers to buy more of their drug. They're drug dealers. Real drug dealers. Now, one of the most dangerous things about these drugs and chemicals is that they induce changes in our body chemistry, right? Which affects our body's function and metabolic process. They influence how we feel, think, act, our personality, our responses, and our reactions. So they're chemically changing what we would normally be by introducing these chemicals into food, water, medicine, and what a lot of people don't realize is that the skin absorbs things into the bloodstream directly. So they're also poisoning us with the aerosol sprays that we spray in the air, gets on our skin absorbs that, it goes into our bloodstream, the chemicals in the lotion, the makeup, come on, son, it's crazy, right? These changes may be temporary, but may also last a very long time. Some cause our DNA to be rewritten, which changes us quite tangibly into a different us. Because the life of the flesh is in the blood, as Leviticus 17:11 says, and our blood is subject to pharmakia sorcery effects, which also has an impact on our spirit and our soul. It affects our essence, and they're doing this intentionally because let me put it like this. Mankind without pharmacies, doctors, nurses, and hospitals will probably be something like a science fiction. It would be a planet full of X-Men or something, right? But the influence is also supernatural, with the very real effect of opening a door or gateway, a dimensional portal through which demons may pass. Because poisons and toxins, these chemicals, let me tell you what these witches know, because they've been doing this for a very long time, right? They know what the combinations of these chemicals do. They know what the combinations of these chemicals attract. They know what the combinations of these chemicals create. And they've been doing it so long that they've mastered it. So they know exactly how they're changing people. They know exactly what they're doing to you. And let me say one last thing before we end this class, right? And that is to say that you can look something up to see how dangerous it is. And let me give you an example. Sodium fluoride, right, is a mind control drug that was used by Hitler in Nazi Germany to control people and to make them more complacent, right? Sodium fluoride is also a poison, a fatal poison. If you look on a bag of rat poison or a box of rat poison, you're going to see sodium fluoride. But guess where else you're going to see sodium fluoride? Go to your bathroom. Look at your toothpaste and ask yourself, why is the main ingredient of rat poison and the mind control drug from Nazi Germany, why is that in my toothpaste? And let me say to you something. They'll tell you, oh, well, it's a minuscule amount. It's not enough to be dangerous. It's not. They tell you that these amounts are safe amounts, right? But what they don't tell you is that they know that if that you're gonna have a soda during the day. So they're not telling you what the combination of the fluoride in the toothpaste and the high fructose corn syrup in the soda, the combination of that, what that's going to create or what that's going to do. See, and that they get away with this, and I would like them to not get away with that with you guys, right? They know what the combinations of these chemicals are going to do and create. So it doesn't have to all be in one place. They know you're going to brush your teeth. They know you're going to have a Sprite. They know you're going to probably eat a burger today. You're going to have some type of meat today. They know you're going to eat. They know these things. They know you're going to use water today. So they'll have those different chemicals that create a certain effect being 3 different things that they know you're going to use in a day. Right? It's dangerous out there, man. So it's like anything that's not natural, man, I would stay away from. Right? And but that covers our first pharmacia class. And it actually whenever I discuss this, it touches me because I think about the babies and all of the people that have no idea what they're doing, and like all of my loved ones and friends that have medicine tables with like 10 different pill bottles on it, and it's crazy because they're killing you. They're killing you. You go to hospitals to be killed. You go to these doctors and nurses to be killed. It's the opposite of what you think. I don't care what. Well, I went to them with my problem and they helped me and I'm better now. You think you're better now. You think you're better now. You're temporarily better. In 50 years, the medicine plus other things, they know how long you got. They know what they did to you. They know the difference between before you came in there and now. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay away, please, if you can. Listen, I haven't been to a doctor or a hospital since I was a kid, and I've been sick. Things have happened to me before, but I've naturally taken care of them, and I'm cool now, man. I just dislocated my knee. I think I ran to the hospital for that. I did not. I did not. It's healing. And oh, something else you guys need to know. Look this up. You can Google this. The human body heals itself. It does. If you give the human body what it needs to do it, the human body will heal itself. I don't care what you got. The human body will heal itself as long as you're not adding poison and as long as you're not deficient of what you. Okay, there's three elements to that. Okay, let me just say it this way. There's three elements to that, to the human body healing itself. The first thing is the human body cannot be deficient of what it naturally needs, like your vitamins and minerals that you naturally need. You can't be deficient of those things. The second thing is that you can't be adding poison, right? You can't add poison to your body. Any poisons or toxins in your body, they will they will prevent your body from healing itself. Right? And the third thing is that the mind controls the body. Okay? Right? So you can think yourself sick, you can think yourself healthy. And that's the other thing, right, that people don't pay attention to, is that the main weapon of these doctors and nurses and hospitals and surgeons is the power of suggestion. It's the things that they say to you. It's the things that they promote out there. It's the things that they put on posters. It's the things they put in their commercials that affect people's minds, and then the mind affects the body. Next class. So, that concludes tonight's class, and we're going to continue this on Tuesday. And I hope you guys picked up some jewels and puzzle pieces and can add that to what you've learned previously, because it's crazy out there, right? So, good night, everybody, and we'll be putting the materials up and this class up in the Facebook group shortly. And see you next time. Thank everybody for being here. We can chat in chat or chat in group. Let me know how this class was. And see you next time. I have to remember.